Welcome back, everyone, to Red Spotlight for our Agency Heroes Reaction Commentary Series. I'm Alexis, of course, written by David Francisco for the show that is made for the longtime S.H.I.E.L.D. fan that wants to come back on here and talk endlessly about one of our favorite shows of all time here, reliving the experience and the mastery of this wonderful show and this even more amazing and wonderful Season 4, of which we're already having such an amazing, incredible time reliving. And also just learning in a way. This is a pretty amazing season. And every episode has just kind of been hitting, right? So far, we're kind of, if we have a sense of momentum, a sense of being on a roll, and I believe we're going to continue to have that sensation with tonight's episode, Lockup. This is written by Nora and Lilia. I'm sorry, not Lilia. Lila. Nora and Lila Zuckerman, directed by Kate Woods, originally broadcast on October 25th, 2016, to 4.55 or 4.55 million viewers. The episode received mostly positive reviews, with critics highlighting its action sequences, use of Ghost Rider, and character-focused moments. The effects used for this episode's ghostly antagonists were criticized, though. For what, the fifth consecutive week in a row? Sure. Whatever. This episode returns our amazing cast here: Clark Gregg, Ming-Na Wen, Chloe Bennett, Edith Castaker, Elizabeth Henstridge, and Henry Simmons, of course. And I believe they forgot to put John Hannah, who's also on the main list here. John Hannah as Dr. Radcliffe. Also here, returning Gabriel Luna as Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider. Parminder Nagra as Ellen Deere. Jose Zuniga as Eli Morrow, Lily Birdsell as Lucy Bauer, Kerr Smith as Joseph Bauer, Rolando Molina as Santiago Noguera, Ward Roberts as Hugo. There's several ways to pronounce these names. I don't know. I'm just trying to have all the run the gamut here. Usman Ali as Vincent, Jason O'Mara as Jeffrey Mace, and George Stephanopoulos as himself. A really interesting list of names. I gotta tell you, that was interesting stuff here. One of the things that does not get enough credit, and it did not get enough credit at the time, and even today, is that S.H.I.E.L.D. was very easily one of the most diverse shows that was on TV. Anywho, as far as this episode is, well, that stuff I can get into. Well, let's get into it real quick right here. The original idea for the episode came when the writers were helping break the story for the episode Uprising, which was episode 3, which includes large-scale blackouts. Lila said that a blackout would be perfect for Ghost Rider to break into prison and murder criminals. The series writer's room all loved the idea of seeing Ghost Rider walking through a prison as all the inmates run back into their cells, but the situation did not fit into that episode. Several weeks later, when the room began discussing the 5th episode of the season, they had established that Ghost Rider's uncle Eli Morrow was in prison, and from there, they decided to use Ghost Rider as the prison break for the basis of this new episode. The writers wanted Daisy Johnson's story to be prominent in the episode, since this is the first episode where she is working with the rest of the team during the season. They also realized that this is the first episode that Phil Coulson and Melinda May are together in a while, so they wanted the episode to be an awkward, tension-filled family reunion. Their script originally featured a heart-to-heart between Johnson and Coulson, but Jed Whedon suggested that it instead be between Johnson and May, a change that Nora said made the episode sing. Lila said this change allowed the scene to give insight on how important Coulson is to May. Whedon also encouraged the writers to have Mexican characters speak Spanish with one another, which was the first time the Zuckermans had written for a language other than English. For Gemma Simmons and Jeffrey Mace's subplot in the episode, the writers were inspired by the film Broadcast News from 1987. The episode is also a turning point for the Ghost Rider pod, with Morrow's release from prison moving the story arc into a new section, and so the writers included elements to set up future episodes. This included a poster of the Quentin Carnival in the background, of the opening scene to hint at the future appearance of the Ghost Rider Johnny Blaze, which we do see briefly in later episodes in this particular pod. Let's see here. This episode's prison setting was realized with a mixture of location filming at a real prison and constructed sets. The first scene shot for the episode was for the heart-to-heart between Johnson and May. As big fans of Stephen King, the writers had the character Santino read a Spanish version of King's book Pet Sematary while in his jail cell. For the prop of the Darkhold introduced in this episode, Lilla suggested the book's cover should feature the word Darkhold as an ambigram, with the series props department designing a new font to achieve this. The prop department had 2 weeks to create the book before it was needed for filming in the episode, with the final book assembled by a bookbinder using aged vellum pages that were filled with text and illustrations inspired by Leonardo da Vinci's Vitruvian Man. And then I'm going to add in my own editorial. In the year 2021, Kevin Feige said, fuck you to all these people in WandaVision, period. That's just my little add-on, because that's what it felt like. That's what it is. Let's not pretend it's not any of that. Anywho. And then we'll get into reviews and critics after all of this. As we go into this episode, I remember at the time of this season, there were quite a few, obviously, more people that were covering this season for obvious skull flame-headed reasons, right? One of the more that we do these recordings, David, the more at odds I am with myself of like, damn. There were so many good shows, and I don't just mean serial shows like the ones that we watched just now, like serialized television. I just mean a lot of review and reaction shows. You know, Ami is one of the newer ones that we've been like following along, but like 10 years ago when this show was airing, I was a big fan of like all of the shows that were on the Collider network. Originally AMC, then Collider Movie Talk, but one of the shows that I felt was kind of the unsung hero. It had a great cast of individuals. Sinead DeFries, Josh McCouga, Griffin Davis. Their show was called TV Talk, Collider TV Talk. And God bless them, they actually are one of the few personalities that not only gave space for this show to be discussed, but it actually included McCouga and DeFries, who loved the show. And so every week they would have in their like TV recaps, because they would watch a whole bunch of TV shows every week. But I remember most vividly about their reaction to this episode, which of course they loved. But I can't get this image out of my mind. It was their Halloween episode, so all of them were like wearing their Halloween costumes. And McCouga's a big, older guy. And I just can't get the image out of my mind of him like praising the action sequence of Daisy in this episode while wearing a wig for whatever. I think it was a Harley Quinn costume or whatever it was. Okay. It was a hilarious, but he was like so in character. He was so serious about just how much like he loved the fighting in this episode and the episode overall. And about give or take 10 years later, it has stuck with me as like one of just those images that kind of in a way encapsulate what I remember loving about those people in that show. Did I agree with all their opinions for the most part? No, but I appreciated the fact that they were among the only people, and certainly the only people in that entire Collider network that even bared or even watched any of it to begin with. So I appreciate that. But
there was
there
was also SourceFed Nerd that I was watching during that time, who were also reviewing it too. Not just that one, but like all the CW shows and everything. They had like a weekly, what they call it, superhero breakdown or something like that.
Yes,
and they just reviewed everything. Mm-hmm. I know they for sure gave praise to this season and all that, but ultimately they didn't care about the show as a whole.
I mean, you can tell when they don't care about a show.
Yeah.
which is unfortunately how, as a Shield fan, you had to kind of get used to, because that was just most of the people who were there. Like, to me, trying to find a internet movie space personality in the mid 2010s to late 2010s to talk positively about Agents of Shield is the same way if you turn on news networks like CNN or MSNBC and you try to find a positive thing being said about Bernie Sanders, because that's just, to me, Bernie and Shield were always kind of interlinked, because when you'd go to the trades and the TV stations and the online shows, it would be stacked with people who were just against them. And it's like, and that's just kind of how it was for the most part. Man, a lot of the things that I'm passionate about, they sure as hell have passionate hate groups that usually are successful in the end. Story of my life. Yeah. Anyway, but when I think of this episode, I think of the reaction to it, and I think in large response to the reaction was some of the, I think, among season 4, I believe this episode stands as a highlight as far as like how it, flawlessly executed its action with the prison break. Yeah. And I think milestone for Chloe Bennett and what she is able to accomplish, for sure. Mm-hmm. Anyway, before we jump into this week, do we have anything from last week to get into?
Yes. One second.
Any mail? Snail mail? As they say.
Silva commented, hello, hope. So, let me do that again.
Rewind the tape.
Hello, hope all is well. Another awesome episode, of course. David nailed it with his comment on Gabriel Luna and his presence in this role. I'm still angry about Kevin Feige killing his Ghostwriter show with sets already built. FFS. What does that mean? Built? FFS. I'm not good with those things. So this is where I officially fell in love with Simmons. Yet another example of fantastic character development as she shines in her confidence and skills. The scenes with Fitz, Radcliffe, Ada, and May were also great, with all the actors knocking it out of the park. I like Coulson's speech at the end about the Darkhold. Like I mentioned before, it's the true villain of the season. Has the One Ring, Lord of the Rings vibe to it. An evil dark force behind it, and that is beyond form, and this book just gives it access through the reader to manifest the chaos into our realm. So much fun. As always, I enjoy listening to your commentary and look forward to next time.
I have something to say about that one. First of all, Silva, thank you for commenting as per usual. I feel like among all the comments that we received, you always have something really interesting to offer here, and I think there's something that I myself had not even considered, because you reminded me that there at one point there was supposed to be a Ghostwriter show. I completely forgot about this. For those who are not aware, this happened in the 2019, I want to say 2020 shuffle, where Marvel Entertainment, which is the division that was set up that had S.H.I.E.L.D., Carter, Inhumans, all the Defender Netflix shows, that was under Jeff Loeb. In 2019, Bob Iger reorganized, Bob Iger commanded, if you will, King Bob commanded that Marvel Studios expand into television shows. And Kevin Feige stupidly said, well, I mean, okay, I guess I'll do it myself. We won't hire anybody else, but we'll just split up our own people. Even though I have this entire studio set up for the sole purpose of doing TV shows, I'm going to shut down that entire department and rid myself of all those people, because fuck them, right? Even though right now, fast forward to 2026, we're aping on their achievements, right? Where I couldn't be bothered to make even a subpar Daredevil show. So I'm going to basically pretend as if mine is in the same realm as that Netflix one. And just for good measure, I'm going to go ahead and just retroactively make all those Defenders Netflix TV shows canon, as if I somehow had anything to do with those shows. Anyway, which, by the way, what I'm trying to say, the point is, he failed completely, and that's his way of admitting that. But back in 2019, she shut down that division. Thankfully, this was happening at a time, and I gotta tell you, one of the things about S.H.I.E.L.D.'s, I want to say lore and legacy is this show was literally the last man standing, and it was able to survive 1,000 axes being thrown at it every single year, because S.H.I.E.L.D's last season, I want to say, was filmed in 2019. It wouldn't broadcast until the summer of 2020, but by the time that Kevin Feige was put in charge and he was winding things down, he couldn't touch S.H.I.E.L.D., and it was, for the most part, already shot. And thank fucking God, because how would it have looked like? What was going on? Because, we still don't have a straight answer. The story is, in the summer of 2018, after Infinity War, S.H.I.E.L.D. was renewed for season 6. After the crew had already assumed 5 was the end, and that was it. They greenlit a 6th season. And they basically went for almost a few months for us thinking, oh, that was it. And then at some point in November of that same year, they announced, oh, and we're going to do 13 more episodes. It's not clear to me if I want to believe. I mean, I guess we should believe the creatives in saying, okay, we'll do 7, but that's it. We don't want to do any more. Now, I don't know if they said that because there wasn't that much more story to tell, or if they could also see the winds changing behind the scenes at Marvel and them realizing there may not even be a home for them if they continue to do more seasons and not having a conclusive, end to the whole series. There's a lot of factors that were happening because S.H.I.E.L.D. was still getting new episodes, new seasons, while everybody else was biting the bullet. The first thing that really blew everything up, I want to say, was Inhumans. And then after Inhumans, I mean, it was dead on arrival, to tell you the truth. But once it was officially canceled, then boom, 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 all the other ones were like getting cleared out of the way. Would Kevin Feige have allowed for the show to have continued? I don't think that would have happened, to tell you the truth. He shut everything down. And then that leads us to this Ghost Rider show, which is very unfortunate that Kevin Feige did that. I'm a little dubious about how good it would have been in the first place. I don't know who the people were attached to it. I mean, it would have included Gabriel Luna, and for that alone, that would have been worth watching just for that, just to see him continue in the role. But that does beg the question about ultimately, Feige could have very easily have used what was going on here, maybe paused it and continued it on to Disney Plus. I do think executives and movie executives and TV executives, I have to just say, I think less and less of them as the years go by for various reasons. But to me, a Ghost Rider TV show, especially with a proven actor like Gabriel Luna in the role, seems like a no-brainer. So you have to really question every step of this process. What was up with the holdup? I understand that in 19 and 20, there was this reorganization, sure. Why not just pause it and use Ghost Rider as one of your first shows to launch Disney Plus with, or the Marvel Studio shows to launch that whole service with, if you really wanted to do that? But, I mean, that also leads us into a can of worms, which is Feige, for whatever reason, thinking that Marvel was eternal, and he was going to introduce 50 new storylines at the exact same time that had no intent of ever being connected. And that's where we are right now, with most people not caring anymore, diminishing box office returns, and a desperate Hail Mary in the form of Doomsday happening right now. That's kind of where we are because of these disastrous decisions that were made. But as far as Ghost Rider, do I blame him for shutting it down in 19? I mean, if he hadn't, we would have gotten a season, and that would have been interesting to see, and I think we at least deserved a season to watch. So yes, in that instance, but also I blame him even more for being stupid to not even bring it back at all in any way, shape, or form at all. I mean, that's just malpractice to me, executive malpractice. Like, how do you not see the potential, considering how people loved this character on a show that you think no one cares about, right? Like, that should tell you something. But more to the point, what the hell was Jeff Loeb doing? What the hell were the people at ABC or Netflix thinking? Like, okay, Kevin Feige and Marvel, that was late 2019, 2020. This season was airing 2016, which means that between 2016 and 2019, you had ample amount of space to shoot and at least air one season of a Ghost Rider TV show. What was going on that no one thought, maybe we should, put the pedal to the metal on this and get this out as sooner rather than later? I mean, I understand that maybe they were already overwhelmed with, quite frankly, projects that maybe shouldn't have been greenlit in the first place. I mean, if we're talking about 2016, I know at that point they probably already had Inhumans drawn out, which that basically killed the entire division if we're being serious. But then we also had other Defender shows. But I'm just like, okay, I get Netflix being busy with, and they're being okay, we're good on your Marvel shows. I get that. ABC has had for the entirety of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s run had been trying to launch a spinoff, and none in the long term were successful. Agent Carter was, by the ABC executives, seen as a second or an initial spinoff, but a second Marvel companion show. Did not last, unfortunately. Also, by the way, speaking of missed opportunities, Kevin Feige could have came in there, done a third Agent Carter season. That could have been an easy win. Didn't do any of that. Also, fuck ABC for canceling it in the first place. Just so we're clear about that, okay? A lot of bad choices made here, by the way. I'm sorry. I'm like speed running through them because I don't want to be here all night, but a lot of bad choices being made. Okay, so that's the first one. Then Marvel's Most Wanted with Bobby and Hunter. They forced them off of the show. They made them shoot a pilot, and then they were like, yeah, maybe not. And then it just they shot it. Someone has the file somewhere, but we never, I wish they would leak it. I would want to see what it would, they shot it, at least leak it, release it. I would want to see what it looked like, but it didn't come to fruition. They tried again. If at first you don't succeed, try again. ABC kept trying to launch a spinoff for this show. And what did the third brilliant idea bring to us? Inhumans.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. I can't remember. Inhumans, that one was more so Kevin Feige project, right? Like, that was the one that he was really trying to push. Really?
Well, no. Well, I think, I don't know what you mean by a Kevin Feige project. Let me clear the record here. It was announced as a movie first. I want to say in the year 2015, it was announced as a movie. But in reality, that was against his will.
Oh, okay.
Because at that point, King Bob did not... at that point, the structure was that Feige had to take orders from Ike Perlmutter, not directly from Bob Iger. After, I think it was 2016, Bob Iger rearranged things to where Perlmutter was no longer breathing down Feige's neck. And when that happened, even without making an announcement in the halls of Marvel Studios, that Inhumans movie was dead. Was not going to happen. Because that was something that was a specific request from Ike Perlmutter, because at the time, and there was no reason to think that for many, many years, Marvel Studios didn't have the rights to the X-Men. And this whole initiative was spurred by Ike Perlmutter to use the Inhumans as a means to replace the X-Men in the existing Marvel Cinematic Universe. So because of this initiative, that's why we have Inhumans in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Thankfully, we had some good writers to be able to work that in there and actually feel natural and easygoing, right? And not at all forced. But because this was Ike Perlmutter's initiative, he was like, okay, well, I guess that movie's dead. Let's do it into a TV show. And then it was up to Jeff Loeb to figure out what they were going to do with that. And I guess the choice at some point was made to involve Channing Dungey at ABC, who at that point was the head of the ABC network. And then someone's idea was to also involve IMAX having a stake in it. There was a 3-way partnership, I believe, in a way to help pay for it. When you watch it, I don't even know what they were stressed about because you don't even understand what money was even used to make it in the first place. But it was supposed to be a pretty big deal, and it imploded upon arrival. It, to this day, I'm not even sure if it endures, by the way, to this very day. I'm not sure people talk about it, but I do think people should talk about it more because it is very embarrassing. It is probably one of the most embarrassing moments as far as the modern day Marvel era is concerned post 2010, I want to say, very easily. Mm-hmm. Now, you could say that it's been overshadowed by things like Secret Invasion, and that's fair. But Inhumans is, I would say, I think most people's money, still considered the worst thing that's been made. Very easily, and that should just say it all. So from the perspective of ABC, they were like, okay, fuck it, enough, that's it. We're gonna stick with S.H.I.E.L.D. because we don't know what the fuck we're doing.
Yeah.
And from that vantage point, okay, fair. But what do you mean, though? You had Ghost Rider. If there was ever a successful or even the closest thing to an easy decision being made, it would be this. This is the spinoff that was the one that was most ready in easily being able to be produced. People already liked the character, of course. But it wasn't to be.
Yeah.
And still to this day wasn't to be. So I probably took 10 minutes on that, but I think it was just necessary to kind of lay it all out there. There's a lot of history to parse through, but it is a series of executives making awful decision after awful decision. And we still don't have, and probably will never have, a Ghost Rider TV show, which ultimately the one who most loses is Gabriel Luna, because that could have been a really big deal for him. And it sucks how he was kind of robbed from that, from these people. David.
No, yeah, that was when I was saying Kevin Feige production. It's wasn't this something that he was pushing forward really hard to try to get Inhumans on his own? But no, it just seems like it was just the other studio heads wanting to push it forward. Okay. Because it would have been funny if it was Kevin Feige's, because it's oh, okay, this should have told you how the rest of the Disney Plus shows were going to look like, which, in a sense, it's still the same thing, but, yeah.
Yeah, no, not at all. So that's kind of where we are. So, Silva, thank you for the opportunity to be able to clarify that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, so we're already 30 minutes in. Okay, we haven't even started. From our vantage point, 30 minutes. We haven't even started the reaction or whatever. But I do feel, if you're a longtime S.H.I.E.L.D. fan, I do hope that this brief history lesson is something that you get a lot out of. Because that's just, to me, unfortunately, I hope I retain this. One day I may not be able to recall it in such vivid detail. So I'm hoping these recordings could be something I can come back and listen to in my old age if I forget all these things. But this should show you I was literally in the trenches every day online with the fan base, and it would be a constant thing. And all of this happening as a backdrop, but also very much influencing the future of this show that we love so much. So. At least we had that time to discuss this. Anywho, enough of me. Oh, God, it's already... Okay, let's just go ahead and start.
Previously on Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Wait, what?
You gotta love the focus here. Look, these two obviously are in love. They're a union. I love how much you see the fact that they join hands.
I didn't think it would be in German.
And through this scene, you get to see what the Darkhold actually does to people, because the camera's going to zoom in right now on how the union of their hands begins to separate as they become further and further obsessed with this dark book. There it is.
You can see plans of the portal thing that they later on make. It was a little bit funny, but
no, it is funny, but I feel like they do it on purpose sometimes, the goofy faces, because they have to understand the people behind the show know what show this is.
Don't know if we can trust him.
So why the hell is he here?
And the further they get into their seasons, the sillier and goofier some of their shots are, especially of the villains. So, I mean, I think on some level, it's supposed to be funny.
We're going to get my uncle. I'm going with you.
No, you're not.
If your uncle can lead us to Lucy, then maybe we'll let you out to bust some ghosts. But until then, your ass stays on the plane.
I don't take orders.
Then this will be a new experience.
You can't keep me here.
He's growing on me. You?
Oh, man.
I mean, there are similar vibes to him and Daisy.
Yeah, right?
Lonely.
Right? It's like maybe...
All right, I should be down there getting answers my way.
Yeah?
Maybe
How you
it's
gonna do that?
causing some memories in Coulson. It's like, I've missed this.
I've never been caught, not even a parking ticket. And then you show up. You bring S.H.I.E.L.D. with you.
Careful. Really.
Why else are you up here hiding from them?
I keep my distance because it's what's best. For everyone.
I'm starting to see why.
Ooh.
Dang.
It's a low blow. But, I mean, if it hadn't been for Daisy, S.H.I.E.L.D. wouldn't be here either. And I can see why Robbie feels the way that he feels. Like, oh.
Did you know there are over 212 micro-expressions that can betray a lie? One eye dot to the left and I'm finished. I am not getting fired today.
Hey, no eye dot to the left. I 100% bought that.
Yeah, I'd just leave. All right. She's not in the mood. I'm like, okay, well, good luck. Bye.
Yeah.
It's like there's no winning there.
Throw me behind bloody bars.
It is kind of an impossible situation, though. It's like I don't personally see what Fitz should have done in this situation. Also, it is not great when you're calling a machine her.
What's wrong with taking it easy?
It is what it is, I guess.
Near-death experience.
It was a death experience. I'm over it.
Well, I'm really not over mine. I thought you'd want to talk about it. You know, what it felt like.
Didn't feel like a trip to Tahiti.
Agent May called ahead. Just to cut down on paperwork. She really hates paperwork.
It's like, Phil, do you not notice this?
One last thing.
Pulse it!
You can't fool me, you demons!
That's crazy. I like the reveal of it.
Whoa! Haven't seen this in a while. Oh!
It's so cool.
And Eli Morrow is located in the East Wing here in Cell Block E. We'll split into 2 teams. Daisy, you lead a team to extract Coulson and May. I'll lead a team to grab Eli.
I'm going. This is my family. You have no reason to keep me out of this.
Because you only kill people that deserve it.
Exactly.
But down there, everyone deserves it. So you stay put.
No, we need an advantage down there. It's him. We can't even touch these things. He can kill them.
You said if you needed some ghosts busted.
Problem with this is they're both correct.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't really beat them without him, but to bring him down there is gonna burn on your face, like, in a bad way.
Yeah, new and improved gauntlets, but Simmons said if you quake.
I could shatter every bone in my body and be crippled for life? Yeah.
Daisy.
I'm not gonna risk it. Besides, I didn't always have powers, and I did all right.
She did more than all right,
Yeah.
as we remember, so she should be good.
I can't remember if I brought it up before, but I think my one complaint for this whole show is the improvements of her powers. Like, we don't see much of how creative, I guess you can say, she gets with her powers, or at the very least, like, kind of shows that she's able to handle more. I feel like they just kind of ignored that situation afterwards.
Yeah, I'm sure. Money, right?
Yeah, and I mean, it's fine for the show because there was so much more to worry about. That's funny,
right? That was a funny
shot
cut right there. It's like, oh hell, and then
yeah. I don't know. It's just like at the time when this was coming out, so was My Hero Academia, which was like the biggest show at the time. And that one, the main character, he has like super strength. The thing though is that when he first used it, he broke both of his arms and legs because he couldn't handle that kind of power. And so as the show went on, they show how much he kept improving on it, like just like little bits of strength getting more and more powerful of it, or at least he can handle more of it and all that. And then later on, showing how much he's improved. And so I kind of wish we could have had that kind of thing with this one. But again, I understand why there wasn't that much of a focus.
Mm-hmm. Cohorts are searching cell by cell for Eli Morrow, which means they don't know where he is.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, except I have now lost him. So they're either avoiding the cameras or they've reverted to a halitous state.
Say what?
They've gone all ghostly.
Smart.
Yeah, well, they are scientists. They tend to think strategically in these situations. It's what makes us such formidable adversaries.
At least they haven't infected the prisoners.
Oh boy.
Rescue you?
Thought we'd meet you halfway.
We have Eli Morrow?
Not yet.
Then we back up Mac and Robbie. Agents, we need Warden Green and his COs lucid if we're gonna retake this place. Plus the demon conversation gets stale.
Copy that.
Right here. This is funny right here, this reaction.
Stop whining.
And then look at Colston's face. It was like, yeah, I love her.
I see it too.
It's how they're organizing. All the new watchdogs are recruiting in prison. Uniting against...
Recruiting in prison. Why does that ring a bell from where we are in 2026? I don't know what's causing me to think about that, but
Hey, stop.
Guess it's pretty easy to recruit in prison, huh?
Boy, do I need your help. I'm debating Senator Nadir on television about the inhuman war on humans.
I can put together a PowerPoint on inhuman genetics, biology, sociological impacts.
Yeah, here's the thing. I think it might be better if I literally had what's in your head in my head.
Mace is like, yeah, I'm not doing all that reading. Yeah, you go ahead and we'll do this and you tell me what to say and that's it.
Also, we're live in 15 minutes.
About back there.
Forget it.
There's a lot going on and we're not talking much of it, mostly because it's just all
I
action and everything. But, you know, every kind of praise that we always give it, dialogue, action, especially dialogue for this one, like giving reasons why Ghost Rider shouldn't go up into the prison, but then why he should stay and everything. Just these are all conversations that nowadays feel like it's always skipped over.
Yes, for sure. It's not even thought of to include. I'm pretty sure we're going to get into a situation. I mean, a lot of streaming shows these days just don't even think to include that. I just can only imagine how bad the Harry Potter show is going to be when hardly any of it's going to be character stuff. That's interesting.
Especially with that one, because like a lot of dialogue within the book, like they explain it. Like one thing I keep hitting jokes about. I hate seeing jokes about it, but with the whole making Snape black, they're always like, "Oh, how is Harry gonna look whenever he suspects the like only black teacher to be evil and all that?" But it's like the book provides dialogue as to for his reasoning. Like Snape was a formal Nazi, like that's one reason right there, and all that. And so it's stuff like that. That does get skipped over nowadays, and so hopefully they don't do that when the new Harry Potter show. But yeah, random tangent. But
look, that's a separate situation where it's like you want to include more people and you want to like race bent the casting of certain characters. In theory, there's no issue with that. Where it becomes a problem is you make people who champion that look bad because you're not doing your own research. There probably was a reason why that character wasn't written to be black in the first place. And when you ignore that, you leave yourself open to dumb shit like this. And you make everybody look bad. So it's just like, unless there's a reasoning to change that whole situation. I mean, you leave it open for people to criticize you. Oh, the only black teacher he has is the bad guy. That
Director of the newly reformed SHIELD, Jeffrey Mace.
Yeah, it's an honor
I
to be
mean,
here,
it just
George.
Let's get started.
Overall stuff.
I'm
like
not saying it's the biggest deal in the world. I'm just saying it's like, to me, that isn't the issue. The issue is we're recreating things, we're retelling things, and the people who are put in charge don't really know the material that they have. And then fundamentally misunderstand the characters and they break them. And I'm talking about not from the source material into an adaptation. I'm talking about something that's already been made. If you don't understand the universe, if you don't understand the feel for your property, you're going to leave yourself open to a whole bunch of fuck ups, which is what I expect I'm going to see in that show. That's my issue. I don't care that they cast a black actor in the role. What I care about is that the people who did that they don't have good answers for anything. What I anticipate would be the issue here.
What about the very real situation happening right now outside of Los Angeles? Is it true that SHIELD has compromised a prison?
That didn't last at all, man.
Fitz, change your plans. Find us another way to the cafeteria. I don't care how.
I'm not sure these guys even know what they're up against here. Not that she can like beat him forever, but she's doing pretty well.
Yeah.
Oh shit. She flew.
Also, I forgot to mention, Marvel loves their prison riot scenes. Daredevil, I think the second season for Daredevil Born Again had a prison scene. Even Arrow had a prison scene. I can't remember what season it was, though.
Walk through walls. Yeah, SHIELD said she had abilities.
Yeah, now we think she has that book. So who knows what else she's capable of.
The book.
Yeah, that should have turned some heads right there. How he agreed to go with them the minute they mentioned the book. That's just me, though.
Well, I mean, that one, at the time, I definitely believed it's like, oh, he knows the dangers of it. Didn't think, like, the second you looked at it, it just turns you evil and all that, you know?
We're dealing with something different here.
Senator, when you say different, that sounds like a dog whistle aimed at hate groups.
There's no dog whistle needed, George. Just the word inhuman is frightening enough, and yet they choose to define themselves that way.
See, that kind of comment. You know, my life didn't just change when that bomb went off in Vienna, or when I shielded that woman from harm. It also changed when I went through Terrigenesis.
Crazy when you're watching that moment because she knows he's lying about something, and then that's just the beginning of this whole I don't know what you call it, just roller coaster of manipulation going on within the rest of the season, which is it's a bit annoying, but I get why it happened.
You saw something.
You want to know what I saw, Phil?
Yeah.
I saw you. Don't let it go to your head.
You didn't think of that before I jumped in the trash?
What's the fun in that?
Mom and Dad to the rescue. It's actually kind of funny how they beat her to him. I'm right? Like, what kind of ghost are you? It's like, what the fuck were you doing?
That's true. It is. You gotta think of the logic in it. I mean, I can believe that maybe they didn't know where exactly he was because it's a big prison. Right. So there is that. I'm sure they just all split up into different directions, trying to look at every building. But yeah, still, you can walk through walls. You could have figured it out.
Hey!
One of the examples here of
Just keep going. Shield will meet you out in the yard.
is interesting. It's like I think when you're looking at this scene, is the writer pulling him? Yes. But also, I think Robbie wants to as well. It's not, I think, ultimately that Robbie can't keep him at bay. And I think the writer also knows, like, he can't stop me if he also wants to do it as well. And that's part of the thing that goes here. What makes it a really interesting relationship. For me, anyway, far more interesting than Venom, but...
Calle 5 llegó. Les dieron balazos. Quemaron el carro. Y les dejaron allí para que se murieran.
Story for another day.
No, yeah. And I think for sure this is, like, a majority of it is his own feelings about it. Because, like, you're telling me in that whole prison, like, that dude's the, biggest evil person?
Worst one.
The worst one?
Yeah. And in the next episode, it's revealed he's not by any stretch of the imagination. It's just that it's a personal connection to his history. I mean, you look at Santino's face; he shows remorse for what happened there.
¿Qué pues? Yo estaba aquí, torcido. Yo no fui el que tomó ese jale.
Jale. Estás diciendo era un hit.
See, he wasn't even the one that took the job. He's just connected to this group.
Así que si tú conocías esos
So it's like,
tu pedo no es conmigo.
I mean, there's degrees of separation, but I guess not for him.
Todos terminaron muertos. Cada miembro de Calle 5 quemados.
No.
The way that you see it on Robbie's face, he's the one that killed them. Very clearly. They go back to their cells.
I like the reaction though too, because it's just like, what the fuck is going? Oh my god.
But it also just shows it's like the writer can also be reckless too in that sense. Did Santino really deserve that? That's something I guess any person can decide, but it just feels like if he wasn't part of the group that even did the hit in the first place, yeah. And this is exactly the thing that S.H.I.E.L.D. is talking about. It's just like,
it's the whole thing
because,
is had he just taken a second to ask him, like, why did you do this to us, instead of just taking action?
Where's my uncle? He's supposed to be with you. What the hell happened?
Wait. Yeah, that's moment. I don't know. I find it funny because it's just like, again, reckless moment. You care more about your mission, and now your uncle's screwed.
Your mind apart piece by piece.
But had he just questioned those guys who he killed in the first place, he would have figured out that his freaking uncle set the hit on them. It was the uncle, right? Am I getting confused?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. It was the uncle.
Do you happen to know what a micro-expression is? The dot of an eye, tensing a forehead. The littlest thing can say a lot. More specifically, they could say if a person is lying.
Look at Mace's face right now. It's like, are you doing this right now?
You know, the one about becoming a hero in Vienna. Because if asked, I would have to tell the truth, which we both know you didn't do.
Harlan?
I feel like this season is just an endless streak of wins for Simmons and putting people in their place. Like, whoever would have thought this character from the very beginning would... She just showed up the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, this girl is just like... She could run this whole thing if she wanted to. And honestly, at this point, she basically is.
Yeah.
So, I just love to see moments like that for Simmons. Being able to kind of like think on her feet and kind of show everybody up. And then we have this right here.
You found me in that cubicle and dragged me out. He didn't give up on me. And he won't give up on you.
I never wanted that.
No, you don't get to choose who cares about you. And Coulson, he's got a bigger heart than most.
We're at 5 episodes. I think this is the first time we have May and Daisy here. And this is important for us to get to this moment because everything that Daisy's kind of putting herself through is literally where we found May at the beginning of the show, isolating and pushing everybody away because of something bad that happened, which was Bahrain.
What do you want?
There's a lot of thoughts of Senator Nadir. I didn't want to get into that tonight. I feel like that's a whole diatribe. I will say, at this moment in the show, we're not quite sure exactly how she fits into this. Clearly, from what we were seeing, she's not very happy about Inhumans. And to me, I wasn't quite in my head thinking that she would be connected to the Watchdogs and then Anton Ivanov later on in the season. To me, I wasn't even sure this was going to be a reoccurring character. It just felt like a one-off just to help service the story for Mace, basically coming out as Inhuman. So the idea of her, being around for at least a few more episodes just wasn't in my mind. But you got to give her credit. I mean, she does come across as very smug, and she, I think, comes across as a very believable politician that we have plenty of today. So you got to buy that performance anyway.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and go over to Ami.
That is until he ran into whatever that.
Wait, what Stephen King book was that? If it was Firestarter, that would be hilarious.
Are your people aware?
It was
of their
Pet Sematary,
murderer, or do they just not care?
Oh no, damn, all that.
2 hours. These will go to ABC News just in time for this evening's broadcast. How do you think those poll numbers will hold up?
What do you want?
Oh no. What is her game? Like, what is truly her end goal with all of this? Her family member, somebody she knows, is crystallized, and is that, well, obviously they haven't woken up, and we don't know when that took place. But again, it's been pretty quick, so you're probably not going to be waking up. Is that the root cause of all of this vitriol? I love the debate that they had. I love that back and forth. Like, the dude is charismatic, and I love the way that he was countering all these points and the way that Simmons was kind of brought in to kind of coach him through it. Also kind of harkening back to Fitz being the quarterback for their current, strategy that they're going on. She ended up having to do the very same for the director himself. So that was fun to see that kind of parallel between the two of them, because they're a little, I wouldn't say out of sync, but they're having a little bit of an issue at the moment with everything going on because of this lie detector test. Obviously, they're moving in together. Also, they share a bed, all these other things. They're getting the place. She's a little frustrated that he even kept these things. While she understands why he did, it's still frustrating, And I get that. I think that's wholly understandable. Through all that, though, and him kind of getting a little emotionally riled up because it was actually hitting a little closer to home than I think he was prepared for it to, ended up coming out as an Inhuman. I honestly thought the public already knew that, but I guess they didn't, because I thought that was the point, that, they wanted to put an Inhuman in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D. because to show that they stand with them and stuff like that. So I thought that was already part of the public narrative, but quite clearly not. But there's this whole Vienna thing. I don't know if that was a mission that we've already done that he's taken credit for in the wake of somebody else. I think there was, what was it? Because wasn't there something that they did that he also had to be the one that took the win for rather than what they did? I don't know. Maybe I'm mixing things up in my head or making something up. Who knows? Either way, there's something there, and I like that Simmons leveraged that so that she could get out of the lie detector thing. So, hey, after that whole speech you gave on there, they might ask my opinion of that, and I would have to tell the truth. And the truth is, that was bullshit, Oh my God. As much as I love it and all this kind of stuff with the gang kind of doing their own thing, it's definitely going to bite us in the ass now, because somehow she knew enough that she could track what they were doing. Like, they knew they broke into this prison. They knew they were there. They knew they were working with Quake. They got the ghostwriter on camera, and obviously multiple things went awry during that whole endeavor. Daisy tried to sever herself off so that she could, get herself taken out by the watchdogs. She wanted to go in and fight that endless fight, do as much damage as she could, but the goal at the end of the day was to die in the fight. She keeps putting herself in these situations where she's not expecting to come out on the other side. Continuously. And they're just not going to let that happen, man. They went to extreme lengths to get into that room that she locked them out of just to back her up. They're not going to let her go all that quietly. And I like that it came back around in that conversation with May, because she went through the very same thing in a very similar way. She knows this more than anybody else too, I think. And she's like, at the end of the day, it's like, hey, you can't choose who cares about you. And Coulson's not going to give up on you. He didn't give up on me. He's not going to give up on you. But she still tried to stay strong and rooted in her resolve. And she's like, hey, after this is done, I'm leaving. But once May was out of eyesight, she started to quake and quiver a little bit. On top of all that, Robbie diverted from the mission because he could not escape that compulsion, because it wasn't so much the writer, it wasn't so much the sin in general, than this personal aspect of it, because this man is part of a gang that, is the reason his brother's in a wheelchair. Though this guy specifically apparently wasn't involved in it at all, still he was there to wipe out the whole gang. But before he did, he learned that somebody ordered that attack. That wasn't just them on a whim going after those kids. Somebody asked them to go for those kids. I mean, the only guess I have is the company, considering that his uncle is a target now because of this ghost is hunting him down. But now with this "we" thing he threw out there, I don't know if that is because he is just associated by extension because he built the machine that led to all of this, so there is a sense of responsibility, or if he and her have been working behind the scenes together. I don't know. Otherwise, I don't know. I don't know. I got a weird vibe about that, and the fact that she kind of did that little touch to the kid's photo in his cell. I don't know if I would go so far as to say that I feel like he would put the hit on the kids, but maybe she would, or somebody else within the group, or maybe just somebody else altogether. Maybe there's something else looming out there, because we still don't really know if there's a backer. Well, there is a backer behind this senator that we haven't seen yet, whoever that is, but I don't know why that would be connected, because she didn't know about this guy. Well, I guess she knew about him, because unless she just looked into him after the fact. So I don't know about that, but that whole sequence though, with him interrogating the guy in the cell, the build up, the tension of that was so good, all leading up to his cleansing by fire and him walking out. Oh, so good. But he couldn't get rid of that temptation, and he was the reason his uncle got caught up by this specter. He dropped the ball, and I'm wondering what repercussions are going to come from that. Not just like for the fact that his uncle is now with her, being forced to read the Darkhold on her behalf, because now as a spirit, it won't allow her to read it. Though it did allow her to pick it up and read it for a second. It literally, just like with how the delay in the pages loading themselves, it did have to be like, oh, wait a minute, do I know you? It's like when you make a little change to yourself and your fucking facial recognition on your computer or your phone is just like, I don't know, are you really you? She just needed to enter a PIN code and it would have been fine. Yeah, man, I don't know. There's definitely something else going on there, and I'm not 100% sure about it. I got a sneaking suspicion, and I hope it's not the case, but that the uncle has more involvement than he actually did, and that maybe his contentment with being in prison was a little bit more so that he actually carries some responsibility. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm hoping that that's not the case, and that that's not how that was supposed to come across. But they're definitely throwing that into question with some of these scenes, and maybe that's just me reading it wrong. I don't know. One thing I was kind of surprised about was how nonchalantly Mac did actually inject himself with that cure. You know, they built that up, and I thought that was going to be a whole thing, and it was going to be him having to trust Robbie to do it for him because he can't, especially in this fit of paranoia that this puts him into. But he was like quick on it, and he was like, oh no, it's happening. Ah! I really thought there was going to be a bigger moment to that. But interesting revelation also in this, speaking of the ghosts, is that we did see the axe actually stick in one until they went intangible. So they could do that at will, which I guess is how they interact with physical objects, I guess, as well, which I guess adds up. At will, they can be tangible or intangible. I guess that tracks, but they don't take damage from it either way, because he did just go incorporeal and the axe just fell out of it. All in all, fantastic episode, man.
All right, let's go over.
Well, actually, a couple
yes.
things.
Yes, go ahead.
What was it? The mech putting the needle on his neck. Actually, there's a bunch of the different ways they could have gone about that moment. Actually, I was thinking of that he was gonna delay it for a second because he was like too nervous to put it on. And he's just like, I'm just gonna wait until like it gets really worse or something. But no, that didn't happen. But he also had a good idea that actually would have been cooler for Robbie to have done it. Show trust within each other. That would have been a lot more interesting.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good point to make.
Yeah, and then the delay in the book when it was showing itself to the ghost lady. I noticed that too, and but I didn't bring it up. But I'm sure that was just for us to be like, oh, okay, she can't see it, because I think it would have been I think we definitely would have been confused if it was just didn't show anything, because it showed it in the flashback that they opened it, waited a couple seconds, then showed writing and everything. We would have just been like, okay, is it gonna show it? Is it gonna show it? It's like, oh, okay, I don't know. I think it was. I'm sure that's what they thought. It was just would have been easier. Show it, disappear. She can't see it, and then that's it. But yeah, I find that interesting too. I feel like he brought up something else, but I can't remember what order.
Here's some reactions from Reddit. It's a funny one that I was thinking of when Nadir gave Mace that tablet of Quake. All the while I was thinking, well, it's not just Quake. Here's the first comment. Guys, Coulson is on videotape that could be sent out public. He could be exposed. Yeah, we didn't know then. This show does not give a fuck. And neither do the movies. Mm-hmm. So theoretically, this exists in the same space as the Avengers. Up until this point, was supposed to be this big secret that Coulson, his identity and the fact that he lives should not be a thing.
Yeah,
I think they made the decision early on in the season to throw that out the window, because when we end, they're America's Most Wanted. So
yeah,
it is what it is at that point. I mean, personally, we can address that the closer that becomes a bit ridiculous. That the Avengers don't know that he's alive somehow, which, yeah, let's just not go there. As a Mexican living legally in the U.S., I'm so glad Ghost Rider's actor is from Texas, even though he's from the nicer Texas city, Austin. The whole dialogue and dialect slang has been on point. He didn't feel as random as a random American trying to say Spanish slang and so on. Robbie felt normal, real. I just fucking love that. It's such a small yet huge detail that pays off so much. Hopefully Ghost Rider gets his show. He didn't. I'm sorry. Didn't happen. But that's a good point to make right there. I'm surprised our Mace revealed his secret as an human early this season. I'm starting to like him. It feels like he wasn't ready to be director of S.H.I.E.L.D. when he was appointed, so he really wants to do a great job and will do anything to get approval, even lie. Good thing he has Simmons. Please don't turn into a villain, Jeffrey. Well, he's not a villain, but there are some secrets that have not yet been revealed, unfortunately. Another great episode. This season has been absolutely fantastic. I liked the return of Coulson's shield projector thing. It would have been really annoying if it were a one-off Deus Ex Machina. I also noticed that they changed Ellen's name. It was Rada in other pre-release materials, I guess. Director Mace appears extremely easy to blackmail, both due to his apparent past as well as his need to appeal to the public. I assume both for personal reasons and for S.H.I.E.L.D.'s legitimacy. Having worked with politicians and other public figures, I'd say this portrayal is pretty on point. Yeah. Can't wait to see what happens with the Darkhold. It's not as if, blackmail could work. Anyone ever wonder why we're at war with Iran? It could maybe have to do with the fact that, Mossad and Israel may have damaging information of the Epstein files against the president. No, that wouldn't happen. Of course not. That's not true. Enjoy your $9 a gallon gas tank. Anywho. Let's go over to some other reactions. I hope this is not rage bait. All right, here we go. We're gonna cut it a little short. I don't want to read the whole thing, but here's writing for the AV Club. Alex McLevy graded the episode a B+, calling it a fast-moving and fun adventure, the kind of race against time scenario that remains the series' strong suit, which played to the show's strengths on numerous levels. He highlighted Johnson's fight against the prisoners and Woods' direction of that scene, as well as the heart-to-heart between Johnson and May. Levy also felt the show is having the most narratively efficient season yet, effectively balancing mission of the week adventures with the longer plots, but was critical of Lucy and the low stakes of the villains. Terry Schwartz at IGN scored the episode 8 out of 10, indicating a great episode, and said the highlight was the action and choreography. Schwartz also noted the character-focused moments such as the Johnson and May heart-to-heart and the revelations about Mace, while highly criticizing the ghost effects. They always have to find something to, I guess, criticize, whatever, saying maybe it's Lucy's makeup, or maybe it was the downside of having a TV show budget, but the look of those affected beings takes me out of the episode whenever they appear. Because of that, Lockup didn't pop as much as last week's episode. Whatever. Mark Buxton of Den of Geek scored the episode 3 out of 5 stars, calling it filler, but fun.
I don't know about filler, but
no way honestly, in hell is this filler.
No,
really?
Honestly, this whole season doesn't feel like a filler. Doesn't have any filler episodes compared to the past seasons. Yeah, because there's so much trying to set up and pay off that this is why we love the season so much, because it's like, wow, every single part of this show is like very important. So
yeah. Buxton said he digs the connections made between Mac and Civil War. Oh, how interesting how you go out of your way to praise an MCU connection as one of the things that you liked most about the episode. Not at all revealing what your priorities really are here. Interesting, huh? Yeah, sure, whatever. But felt at the end that the subplot with Simmons was confusing and could have been made clearer. Who in the hell are they asking to write for this?
Mm-hmm.
What was confusing about anything that happened with Simmons and Mace this episode? I mean, they literally couldn't have made it clearer.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah, I don't get it.
Kevin Fitzpatrick of Screen Crush said the series deserves some credit for venturing into the prison breakout trope, and thought the action sequences were impressive, but felt that Johnson's storyline was nowhere near as compelling as the series wants it to be, and contrived. I'm going to read that again because I believe this idiocy needs to be appreciated, because, wow. He said, nowhere near as compelling as the series wants it to be, and contrived. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
He said that the Mace Simmons subplot was consistently dashing any energy or momentum built up from the prison scenes. Basically saying that it killed the episode, that we have to keep coming back to this. Okay. Oh, and he also criticized the ghost effects.
It's fine.
Collider's Evan Valentine gave the episode 4 out of 5 stars, indicating a very good episode, saying that S.H.I.E.L.D. is at its best when it manages to find something interesting and worthwhile for each of its cast to dig their teeth into, and this episode is one of the most on-point examples that we've seen this season. He highlighted the action scenes, the character interactions, and the visual effects. Danny Hale at Flickering Myth said that Lockup is a really, really fun episode, and was thankful that Johnson rejoining S.H.I.E.L.D. was not resolved without the appropriate time for the audience to feel her absence. Hale also noted the introduction of the Darkhold, Coulson, and Mace interactions, and the added mystery to Mace's character are all things that make for good viewing and has me hooked for next week. Vulture's Scott Meslow scored the episode 3 out of 5, feeling the season was lacking a truly compelling villain. So far, that's one thing I will give a lot of leeway to, because that's not been revealed yet. We're not there yet. But in retrospect, I mean, yeah, we know where we're going to go. But if you don't know where we're going to go, sure, I can understand that critique. Saying the ghost effects look absolutely terrible. Come on! Like, Jesus Christ, you'd think that this, like, killed somebody's mom or something. It's like, is this really something to bitch that much about? And I would know about bitching, please. Meslow said that the prison scenes had quippy dialogue. They love that word in the 2010s, quippy. And solid action scenes. But was more interested in the Mace and Simmons storyline. Interesting. For Nerdist, Joseph McCabe said, when S.H.I.E.L.D. is at its best, it doesn't offer viewers much to dissect.
What?
He just said...
Usually the best kind of content is the ones that you can dissect. Like... I mean, that look on...
He just called us stupid for thinking the show was deep or had anything meaningful to say. That's what he said. The show is at its best when it doesn't offer much to dissect.
Would you say that about any other show or movie? It's like, yeah, there's not much for me to dissect here, so it's pretty good. It's like, no. Usually when you can dissect it means like there's a lot more to it than you first thought of. So rewatch the show, my guy.
He continues because it's all about momentum, and this is a textbook example. 42 minutes of adrenaline without any single wasted moment. He felt the episode had several satisfying character-based moments, especially the scenes between Coulson and May. And though McCabe thought Woods was not the most adept at staging fight sequences, he still praised the choreography of Johnson's action scenes. I gotta tell you, can you tell that there've been some new people brought on to cover this season that maybe haven't watched the show before?
Yeah.
Just a little bit. You know, it's kind of obvious to see how that's, which outlets are, I guess, guilty of that, because some of this is just, again, I don't know. A lot of this doesn't feel good faith just because they're not playing with a full deck of cards, as they say. So, I mean, take this with a grain of salt, but like a lot of this is just absurd. I mean, this is framed as a positive review, and the first thing that McCabe said, this show is great when it's just doing stupid, dumb shit that you don't have to think about.
Yeah.
It's like, what kind of a backhanded compliment is that? But I this is why I read these reviews and we have the context that we do, people, because this is an element of history to this show that should never ever be forgotten. And how much of an uphill battle it always was at every turn just for this show to exist. Because even after 3 creatively successful seasons, we're here in the heart of season 4, topping itself to new heights, topping itself every single week. I mean, the only person here, I believe, was Levy for AV Club, saying that this was very easily the most efficient season yet. But everybody else here is just like, you're just proving just the bias that exists against the show, and still does to this very day. And I think it's important in a retrospective reaction series such as we are, especially of this show, that we take the time to not forget this. Because ultimately, one of our thesis points is that this is an amazing show, and at its time, it should have been appreciated as an amazing show, and it should have been discussed and covered, and there should have been a whole bunch more people who were saying, MCU, what are you doing not acknowledging this show? Because it's doing all the things that you do better than you. Anyway, I think ultimately Lockup, another great episode, season's moving along. For people to be complaining about pacing, oh my God, I don't have the energy to entertain that. Cut the show. we're done.
Yeah.
Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Stay under our red spotlight for more content. More. We just finished reacting to Maul. We had a blast, especially the last 4 episodes. If you want to catch our reactions, David, great job on the editing. I loved our faces when Vader came along. That's priceless. So if you want to go ahead and watch that, I'm gonna have to clip that for the TikTok at some point. I meant to, but I've just been so busy. But anyway, watch that. Stay on here for more content and more, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.